Happy Wednesday, boys and girls. Today I am very excited because we are going to be working on a super colorful and brightly patterned line landscape. I have a piece of blank paper here. I'm also going to be using some markers today, as well as probably some crayon and colored pencil to fill in my space. But as always, you can use any materials that you have at home. Get creative and choose whatever feels right to you. I'm going to start out by splitting my landscape up into three different parts. There are three different parts to a landscape. We have the foreground, the middle ground, and the background, or any space behind the landscape that you're drawing. The foreground is going to be the land that's in front, or any objects that are in front. The middle ground is going to be the stuff here in the middle, and the background is everything behind it, like the sky, the sun, etc., etc. So I'm going to start by making that foreground, and I think I'm going to be using cool colors like greens and blues for this foreground portion. Alright, so I have a few colors picked out that I can choose from, and I think I'm going to stick more towards that green color, and I'm going to do some really cool hills in the front here. I want to layer them and add different patterns inside so that it looks like they're overlapping, that some are in front of others. So I'll start by making a kind of wavy or curved line. It's not going to go all the way across the page, but I'll start making different layers of hills here. All right, so that's a good start to my hills here, and I got to make sure that I want to add my pattern here. So go ahead and add some lines. All right, now I'm going to add some other layers to my landscape to make it look like they're overlapping. So I'm going to add one hill kind of going over here off to the side. And I won't forget my patterns. So as I continue to make my foreground, or this layer in the front, I might make a few more layers here and add just a little bit to these patterns to kind of differentiate them or add contrast, make them stand out from each other. Because right now I have two sets of lines, but I bet I could make it a little bit more interesting. Alright, now that I have added my foreground, or the part of my landscape that's in the front, I'm going to start adding the middle ground, the next layer. I think I'm going to make this next layer look more like mountains and have more angled lines filling up this background here. So I'll go ahead and get started on layering that and adding patterns as well. I think I'm going to stick with a more purpley, blue, pink kind of palette for this, just to make it stand out from that foreground. Now that I have my foreground and my middle ground completed, it's time to get started on that background. That awesome part where I'm going to add maybe a sun and clouds. I really want to add a detail to what's behind my landscape so that it really makes this picture pop and look super beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a whirl. I'll start with maybe just a sunshine peeking out here. Some zigzags. maybe I'll even add kind of a spiral look inside my sun. And I'll continue adding more details, maybe some clouds or birds to my background. All right, so my line landscape is just about finished. The only thing I really need to add at this point is some more color to fill in a lot of these white spaces here. I'm going to be practicing using a little bit of shading techniques to really make certain areas pop and look darker than others. So for example, on my sun here, maybe I want the inside to be just a little bit darker, and I want the color to get lighter as it approaches the edges or those rays of the sun, because light tends to fade the farther out it gets from the center. So I'll fill in the whole area with yellow, but I'll really concentrate on making this area in the center a lot darker. Now I can do that by layering more color on top or just using firmer pressure. I can try the same thing on this mountaintop here. Maybe I want the top to look just a little bit darker, and I'll have it blend towards the bottom of the mountain to get a little bit lighter. Now, I might choose to leave some sections white in between others just to kind of build some more contrast in my image, but I'm going to get started on finishing up my landscape here. Let's get started. Alright, and there we are, boys and girls. Here is my finished line landscape. I made sure to fill in just about all my white space. I did leave a little open area here and in my clouds just to have some contrast. I cannot wait to see what you guys create. I would love to see you making your very own patterns, being really creative and unique with what you do. You don't have to make hills and mountains like me. You could really mix it up. You could even add water to your landscape. It's totally up to you. I can't wait to see what you create, boys and girls. Have fun and happy art making.